Hello friends, this video on sources of energy part 4 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So let us now talk about petroleum. So right now, you must be thinking that okay, then since coal has all the advantages of being used as a fuel, so coal is obviously a very good source of energy. But right now I have not spoken about the disadvantages of using these fossil fuels. So let me first discuss each of these fossil fuels in detail one by one. So we completed coal. Now it's turn for petroleum. So let's discuss coal, petroleum and natural gas, and then we will look at the disadvantages as well. So when I talk of petroleum, it is formed by decomposition of diatoms deep under the ground. So you got a new term here. What are diatoms? Diatoms are nothing but these are plant-like creatures which were present in the oceans millions of years ago. During those period when fossil fuels are formed, at that time in the oceans, you had some tiny plant-like structures. They were so small that you can compare their size to the head of a needle. So you can imagine how tiny were they. So they were small creatures. They were plant-like creatures actually. They have the property similar to plants that they could convert sunlight into stored energy. For example, all of you must be aware of photosynthesis, right? What is photosynthesis? All green plants which we see around us, they utilize the energy from the sun, or they utilize the sunlight in order to prepare their food, and that is how they convert the sunlight into stored energy, and they store that energy within themselves. Similarly, these diatoms also had this property. So they were small plant-like structures which were present in the oceans, which had the property of converting sunlight into stored energy. So petroleum was formed by decomposition of these diatoms deep under the ground. So what happened when these diatoms died? They fell to the sea floor. So here I have represented, if you look at this picture, these represent diatoms. So even I have never seen a diatom myself, but this is how they looked like during those years, right? So when these diatoms died, they fell to the sea floor. So normally they were in the sea, but once they died, they went under the sea floor. So they went to the bottom of the sea. They got buried there and squeezed under rocks. So as I said, when something goes to the bottom of the sea, so gradually rocks and other rocks, sand, clay and everything will cover those things. Now gradually in due course of time, under high temperature and pressure, they formed petroleum or oil, whatever you call it. So that means petroleum was formed by decomposition of diatoms. So when the diatoms were present in the oceans, when they died, they fall to the sea floor. Now once they were on the sea floor, they got covered with sand, clay and rocks. With due course of time, they got squeezed by the pressure from the rocks. They were buried and squeezed by the rocks. And again, over a period of years, under high temperature and pressure, petroleum was formed. So now since petroleum was again formed deep under the ground, so how do we actually obtain petroleum from there? So the process of digging out the petroleum from deep under the ground is known as drilling. Like how we have the term called mining with coal. We mine coal. Similarly, we drill oil. So it is known as oil drilling. So you would have heard of several oil companies like Indian Oil or many such companies, right? So these oil companies, what do they actually? You have so many oil companies around this Saudi Arabia, Dubai and all. Those part of the world. So there you have so many oil companies. So what do these oil companies do? They actually drill through the earth to find deposits of oil and natural gas. So again, everywhere you will not have the deposits of petroleum. So first you will have to detect the region or area where you actually have the deposits of oil. So they drill through the earth to find deposits of oil and natural gas. Oil is then pumped from below by oil rings and transported through pipelines or ship. So this is how, if you see, this is how the transportation of oil takes place. So first it has to be drilled. So if you look at these pictures, you can get some idea how things look like. So if you see here, this is how the drilling machine looked like, with which they drilled the earth and tried to detect the deposits of oil. Now once that is detected, using oil rings, it is nothing but an automated equipment which helps to drill, or which helps to bring the oil from deep under the ground to the surface. So that is how, with the help of oil rings, the oil was pumped above, and then it was transported through pipelines or through ship to different parts of the world, because you will have these oil deposits only at certain locations, right? But the need of the petroleum as a source of energy is everywhere, so it has to be transported to different places, and that transportation was done via pipelines or ship. So let us look at the third kind of fossil fuel, that is natural gas. So what is natural gas? It is in gaseous form, it is lighter than air. It is made up of methane. So this, please concentrate on the pictures. So when I say methane, this is how the structure of methane looks like, right? CH4. So it is made up of methane. So methane, again, methane consists of carbon, and again, due to the presence of carbon, it is such a good source of energy. It is highly inflammable. That means it easily catches fire. So it is inflammable. So the term inflammable actually means something which catches fire very easily. So it can be very dangerous at times. It is usually found near petroleum underground. Like just now I mentioned, right, how petroleum was formed by decomposition of diatoms. Now it is seen that wherever we have the petroleum deposits, in the surroundings of the petroleum deposits, we often found natural gas, right? So it is usually found near the petroleum underground. It is also drilled out in the similar way. I mean, when you drill out the oil, that time itself you pump out the natural gas as well. And again, it is also transported through pipelines. It is odorless, that means there is no smell. Now, since it doesn't have any smell, so it is difficult to detect the presence of natural gas. But at the same time, as I mentioned, that since it is highly inflammable, so it can be very dangerous at times. But if it does not have any smell, and since it is in gaseous form, so you cannot see it as well, right? It is not in some solid form or liquid form. So if it doesn't have any smell, then it becomes really difficult to detect its presence. So what was done, when it was pumped out, after that it was mixed with a chemical of strong odor before being sent to the pipelines, right? So once you pump it out, only after pumping it out you will transport it through the pipeline. So before it was sent to the pipeline, it was mixed with a chemical. That chemical had a very strong smell. Now once it is mixed with that chemical, now this natural gas also had a strong smell. So now it became easy for us to detect the presence of natural gas. So whenever you have that smell, you can detect the presence of natural gas, and then you can become cautious that because I mean, you should not light a matchstick near it, because it will easily catch fire. So that is why you would have often seen in your houses that your LPG, the liquid petroleum gas which we use for cooking purpose, they often say that in case of any leakage, please keep all the lights switched off and immediately inform to the dealer so that they can come and replace it, right? So sometimes there might be some leakage with the knob or some leakage somewhere. So whenever you detect how do you detect that leakage? That leakage is detected only by the smell. So that smell has become a very important aspect which ensures security. Otherwise, what happens if there is some leakage of the natural gas? Let us suppose if you switched on the bulb in your kitchen. So that since the natural gas is present everywhere in the room, and if it doesn't have any smell, you will not be able to detect it, and it will immediately catch fire as soon as you switch on the bulb, right? So even with a small thing, it will catch fire and it can be extremely hazardous. So that is why it was mixed with this chemical, so that it gets a strong smell which helps us to detect its presence, right? Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.